Hey, so this is super important. So you probably know this about me, but I'm a nerd and I read research for fun. My entire life is built around learning so that I can provide accurate and useful data and I don't misguide anybody because I would never want to give some advice that is harmful. And so I just want to make sure people live longer and live better. Like I like to say, live greatly and die well. No need for you and your family to suffer, when you're 150 or whatever, to make sure you have that muscle, you're strong, you're powerful. But every now and then you find something that's like, holy cow, and there's a lot of evidence for it, and it's just not being spoken about. And it's something your mom probably told you when you were little, and you may say it to your kids now if you have kids. But there is, like, they talk about superfoods, and most of them just are unprocessed foods, like all unprocessed foods, like every fruit and vegetable and like meat has a lot of nutrients, and nutrients, like a nutrient is defined as this. So a nutrient defined is something you must ingest in order to sustain life. So when you take nutrition 101 in college, they'll go through each of the vitamins, each of the minerals, and they'll say, okay, if you're deficient, you get this disease. And if you don't correct that over time, you eventually die. So like a deficiency in any vitamin or mineral will actually eventually kill you. No one wants to talk about that. It's like common sense to me. But I'm like, hey, let's make sure we're getting these things because, hey, you can live longer if you do this, you'll live better. So that's what our goal here is. But today I want to share something with you. I'll share the actual research studies on a few of them. But there is something in certain foods called sulforaphane. Now, sulforaphane is found in the highest concentration in broccoli sprouts. And I'll explain why later on. But it's also found in other cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, which include like kimchi, which is a Korean dish, and sauerkraut, and Brussels sprouts, watercress, wasabi, radish, foods that are called cruciferous or brassica. But sulforaphane is the most powerful activator of a metabolic pathway called NRF2. And so the NRF2 pathway affects the expression of over 200 genes in the body. There's only 20,000 genes in the human genome. And this includes, of these 200 genes, it affects pathways that involve the antioxidant, so anti-aging, and anti-inflammatory genes, and also detoxification genes that help excrete cancer-causing compounds. So that's pretty important. Now, there's a ton of research on this. And for instance, there's a study from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. It's titled Cruciferous Vegetable Consumption is Associated with a Reduced Risk of Total and Cardiovascular Disease Mortality. That's a really complicated way of saying those who consume the most cruciferous vegetables decrease the risk of death by 22%. And this is all-cause mortality. So any type of disease, anything, any way of dying, you decreased your risk of dying by 22%. And so I guess mom was right when she said eat your broccoli, right? So because there's another study. This one was titled Fruit and Vegetable Intakes and Prostate Cancer. And this one showed a 41% decreased risk of prostate cancer among men eating 3 or more servings of cruciferous vegetables per week. That's like every other day, compared to those people that were eating like 1 serving a week. So some people were still eating it, but just once a week, and these people were doing it like 3 times a week. And so you had a 41% decreased risk of prostate cancer. And so that's pretty important. Now, in another study, let's look at this, and this one's really cool. There's a study that says it's called Fruit Vegetable Intake and Incidence of Bladder Cancer in a Male Prospective Cohort, where and if they adjusted for age, they observed a 51% risk reduction of bladder cancer among those consuming greater than 5 servings per week of cruciferous vegetables compared to people that ate less than a serving a week of cruciferous vegetables. So basically what this is telling us is the more cruciferous vegetables you eat, the longer you're going to live and the less likely you'll get some sort of terrible disease. Now, what about smokers? Smokers, are putting damaging material into their body regularly. And so this research article is called Cruciferous Vegetable Intake is Inversely Associated with Lung Cancer Risk Among Smokers. So this compared to those who consumed less than 2.5 servings, which is a half cup a serving in this particular study. So 2.5 servings per month. Consumers of greater than 4.5 servings of raw cruciferous vegetables per month had a 55% reduction in lung cancer. So this is basically having 4.5 servings. That's like 2 1/4 cups of cruciferous vegetables. That's nothing. You could be doing that a day. Okay, and then another one is a meta-analysis. This is like when you look at all the research on a particular topic. This topic was breast cancer risk. Now, this showed the effectiveness of cruciferous vegetable intake on breast cancer. And here's a quote from the study. Our data support the hypothesis that consumption of brassica vegetables, cruciferous vegetables, especially 1 to 2 servings per day, lowers the risk of breast cancer by as much as 20 to 40%. Possibly by shifting the pathway of estrogen metabolism. So 24 to 40% reduction in breast cancer. How crazy is that? Just having 1 or 2 servings per day. Like having 1 or 2 cups of vegetables per day, I would say like is ideal. But a 20 to 40% is a large difference. This may be due to different genetics, like when we do your DNA test, like I have this gene, so I would have a greater impact by having cruciferous vegetables. But this could also be due to the preparation of the vegetables because cooking and heat destroys the active ingredient, sulforaphane, and the enzyme, myrosinase, which you need to absorb it. Therefore, raw is better than cooked, but you can only eat so much broccoli and cauliflower raw because it's hard to digest, right? So broccoli sprouts are the ideal source because they contain the highest concentration and they can be consumed raw. You can buy these at Whole Foods and have them delivered. But if you freeze them, freezing broccoli sprouts or having frozen broccoli creates what's called a hormetic effect. And what hormesis is if you, like it's with weights, like if you lift weights, your muscles are challenged, they're irritated, they don't like it, so they get stronger. And then you'll build muscle over time if you give it the right environment. So hormesis, when you freeze a vegetable like broccoli or broccoli sprouts, it produces more sulforaphane to protect it. And so it makes it stronger. And that's for our benefit because we want that sulforaphane. So 1 cup a day of broccoli sprouts, or 100 grams, which is a little less than a cup, I like to err on the side of caution here, can keep the doctor away, absolutely. So what we want to do is, I just want to say, hey, if you're going to do one thing, or you really care about the people around you, get them eating these foods. It's really, really important. Now, supplements, there are some supplements that do this. I'm testing them right now to see if there's a lot of them don't have the active ingredient in it. They're not absorbable, even though they say they are. And so we're currently testing different products without them knowing it. So they're not sending us certain samples, not the others. So randomly ordering it and then testing in a lab. And if something comes back, I'll let you know. But the study is done not with supplements. It has been done with real cruciferous vegetables. And so try to get 2 cups a day if you can. If you get broccoli sprouts, that's even better. Like I freeze them and I blend them up with wild blueberries and my protein powder in the morning after I work out. I do that every morning. And they're like, well, what does it taste like? I don't know. I don't care about the taste. I care about being awesome and living an awesome life and, being my best for myself and others. So flavor is a side effect. And if I make choices based off flavor, I will just eat cupcakes all the time. And so that's my 2 cents. All right. Love you. Hope you live a long time. Okay. Bye.
You tap into the real you, but you have to retrain yourself. The way you retrain yourself is you wake your ass up in the morning and you say, I am here for a reason and a purpose. And it's bigger than my moods. It's bigger than the difficulties of the day. I am here to live like a lion, not the fear of a lamb.